the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show with special guests Aaron Krako, Jack Wagner, Melissa Gilbert, Barbara Gregozova, and now the host of the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show, Elliott Wallach.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show. This is it, it's official. We are now halfway through the 12th season, an incredible milestone. But you know what? After 12 seasons, we're seeing a lot of fresh things, new things. We've never seen some of this before, and we're gonna unpack a lot of it in this after show, starting with this fever-induced dream sequence. Tiffiany is on the set with Aaron Krako. Let's take a look.
Aaron,
Ready?
thanks. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay, take two.
Take two.
Okay. Thanks for joining me, Aaron. So nice to see you.
So nice to be here with you.
So this episode, okay, my goodness, this was woo.
Whoa.
Yeah, come on.
I have nothing to say about it.
You know people are talking.
Yeah.
Okay. So Elizabeth was not feeling well,
Right.
and she starts having these dreams, and they progress. Let's talk about that. Why is Elizabeth having these dreams?
Well, I mean, I think she's had feelings for this guy for a while, and she's a little out of it. She's having fever dreams. She takes some cold remedy that Rosemary offers her, and the dreams just get a little loopy. And there he is, her knight in shining armor, or very little armor in some of these scenes. But yeah, they get wild. It's kind of fun to play something different. I didn't know you were here.
Need some help with that?
How was that scene to shoot?
It was fun. I mean, set deck they decorated the whole place in flowers and made it feel very dreamy. We had Kevin chopping wood and dousing himself in water, and it's very silly. It feels like a flirty, fun, different way of getting to celebrate their blossoming relationship. And, I think for all those romance novel lovers out there, it will hopefully scratch that itch for them. And it was fun to get to play Nathan's dream at the end of the episode as well, kind of see what he might be dreaming about. And that was all very romantic and lovely with the sheets and the breeze. And then, of course, him waking up to Scout licking his face is just very funny.
It's cute. I love that little dog.
I love that little dog too.
And I like the two of you together. I mean,
Me and the dog?
well,
No.
no. I like you and Scout together, but I like you and Nathan more.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm
Yeah,
so
yeah.
glad. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've had fun.
How do you see the relationship progressing as we move through the season?
Well, we go through some different chapters in this season. I mean, you've just touched on a very silly, fun, flirty chapter for them. But, aside from the crazy dreams, there's also this element of Nathan really being there for her when she's in kind of a low moment.
Yeah.
It's not particularly glamorous when you get a bad cold, and he's sitting up with her and taking care of her and making soup for her. So that's really lovely. And then continuing to see how they support one another through parenting challenges, getting to know each other's child better, and then we find some more exciting, adventurous challenges later in the season, as well as some really emotional, heartfelt, dramatic challenges as well. So they have a lot of hurdles that they're experiencing together. But I think seeing them lean on each other is a really nice way to explore their deepening relationship.
And the two of you are friends off screen.
Oh, yeah.
Does that impact the way you perform together? Does it change? Does it make it easier?
I think it does make it easier. There's a lot of trust there. I mean, yes, we're very close friends, but we've also been working together since season 6, and I think we've earned that trust. So I know that if I leap, he's going to catch me and vice versa.
Something else this season that Elizabeth is doing is the project-based learning with the kids. How did you feel about that storyline when you read it?
I think it's so nice. We have seen how passionate Elizabeth is about teaching, nurturing young minds over the years, but this is a way of really highlighting that and finding a way to communicate that to other educators. We've seen her passions in teaching and in writing her book, but this is a new element to that teaching, and I think it really celebrates that one curriculum isn't necessarily going to apply to each student, and Elizabeth is all about celebrating that individuality and really nurturing each child for the person they are, and not just, blanketing the classroom in standardized testing.
And I really like seeing more storylines with the kids. I feel like some of the seasons we don't get as much storylines, but this I felt was pretty heavy storylines for the kids.
It's been great. It's really nice to get to feature them because we have some incredibly talented young actors. They've really blown me away this season. So I agree.
Yeah, and there's a new addition to the town, Oliver.
Yes.
And he's paired up with Allie.
Yes.
So tell me about working with Jacob Shumay.
Yeah, Jacob's wonderful. He's so talented. He's got such great instincts, is very much a natural, I think, and has just fit in so beautifully in Hope Valley. He has an interesting story. So he and Elizabeth are working together on his education, and he's also interested, who knows in what way, interested in Allie. And so he's really present supporting her. She's really passionate about this wolf project that she's taken on. And he is right there with her, supporting her and trying to be helpful. And yeah, it's just a really sweet dynamic that they've developed.
Bill loves Oliver because Oliver is a big fan of Bill Avery's. He's read his book. We find out Bill's actually written a book about being a Mountie, etc. So, once that happens, he's really takes this kid under his wing for a little bit, but it's actually Nathan, is there to mentor him. And Bill sort of mentors Nathan a little bit. So it's kind of nice that there's that stepping stone, of order that we have as Mounties, and in the town. And I think Oliver's a great idea, because it gives a shot in the arm to the youthful storylines on our show. I think that's important because Allie's now grown up and is a young woman. And so to start to branch out and to tell, her story, I think is really smart, because people have a great interest in Elizabeth and Nathan for sure now. And these are the next chapters of When Calls the Heart.
Could the cattle be what's affecting the water?
They're heading into the stream. The cows are kicking up the silt. The murky water would cause an algae bloom and
Keep the fish from spawning. Oliver, I think you figured it out.
if we could find a way around the stream.
Riders.
You guys get to do a lot of outdoor scenes, it feels like. Where are you shooting that? This all
Right here.
But are we just all out behind the church?
Yeah, behind the church, in the woods, in the fields, by the pond. We're just looking for. We're always exploring the geography of Hope Valley, trying to figure out, are there different ways that we can look at this section of the property to make it seem like a place that's new and different.
Yeah. As we wrap this up, any more steamy scenes or interesting scenes coming with you and Nathan?
After episode 6?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Is that an appropriate answer?
Yes.
Yeah. There's some excitement coming soon.
Okay, seriously, I can't be the only one, but when you saw Aaron/Elizabeth looking so sick, didn't it make you feel bad? I mean, didn't you also want to send her like some chicken soup or, some echinacea or just something? But anyway, that was new territory. I don't think any of us have ever seen Elizabeth sick like that before, but it is a milestone season, a lot of new things, and maybe the biggest one yet, Melissa Gilbert. We've been waiting for that since we heard about it at the Hardy's family reunion last year. Tiffiany is on the set with Melissa Gilbert to talk about her character, Georgie McGill. Let's take a look.
Melissa, thanks for joining me.
Well, I'm so happy to do this.
So let's talk about episode 6.
Okay.
We are just meeting your character, Georgie. What can you tell me about her?
Georgie McGill is a forensic accountant with the RCMP. She's a civilian, but she is also in financial crimes. and comes in to solve a crime and meets up with someone from her past.
Which we know from this episode is Bill.
Yes.
Yeah, and I sensed a little spark there.
I think it's very sparky.
Okay.
I think Bill and Georgie are pretty sparky. I think it's they have a lot of history together, and I think it's a case of maybe these are the people that are exactly perfectly meant for each other. They just didn't know it back then when they were kids.
Yeah.
But could they have a chance now? We'll see.
I like this idea for Bill because he's kind of been unlucky in love over the seasons. He's kind of starts maybe dating someone, then it goes away. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that you'll stick around.
I'm hopeful just to stick around. That would make me very happy.
Inspector.
I hope you don't mind. I let myself in.
Oh, of course. I've asked Judge Avery to be with us. Bill, this is Inspector McGill. She's the forensic specialist.
Yes, we've met.
It's good to see you, Bill.
How are you, Georgie? We trained in forensics together.
Many years ago.
Right.
Georgia McGill, she was in forensic class in forensic school with the Mounties with Bill Avery. So they have a history, and it turns out that's sort of the backstory of introducing her character. You know, she went through the Mountie Academy, and we were in it together, and so it sort of unfolds that we're in the same investigation together.
And it's played by the beautiful and very sweet Melissa Gilbert. How did that come about? Do you know how she ended up getting cast on the show?
Yeah, I think Melissa basically got on the show through Michael Landon Jr. I think it was more about him reaching out to her because they've known each other since high school, and kind of checking in with her about if she knew about the show, et cetera. And so it turns out that she did want to do the show, you know, and we've created an arc and a character for her. And it happens to be playing against Bill Avery. So, you know, here I get to meet Melissa and work with her and, you know, share old war stories and history and also create this really interesting relationship.
One of my dearest friends since I was 9 years old is Michael Landon Jr. And he sent me a text and said, would you ever be interested in coming and joining us on When Calls the Heart? And I said, absolutely. And then I was traveling and things got kind of crazy. And he said, got a minute, I need to talk to you. And I called him. I was in a car driving to our place in New York from the airport. And he said, what are you doing on Tuesday? It's just like a Thursday. And I said, I don't know why. And he said, well, we have a role in which it's all yours if you want it. We just need you on Tuesday because we have this train car that we built and we got to get you in there. We got to get you in wardrobe. And it just sort of went boom, 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 boom. And here I was.
Tell me about that train car, because that was an interesting set, right?
Yeah, apparently the train car was a brand new thing that they built just for us. It was so beautiful. It really felt like the inside of a train. And having filmed Little House on so many steam trains over the 9 seasons we were on the air, it really felt evocative of all of that. Very intimate, very rich, very, very beautiful. I mean, I'm really impressed with the sets on this show. They're very opulent for, I mean, visually, not necessarily a wealthy town, but just beautiful.
Yeah, how does it compare to Little House?
Well, we were dirt poor, dirt farmers, basically. Poor Ingalls family never had a crop. And then the Wilders never had a crop. I don't know how we existed. These people seem to be doing a little bit better.
What did you think when you first walked onto set?
I immediately felt like I was home. This set felt very Walnut Grove-ish to me. Aside from the familiarity of equipment and film cameras and all of that, because it's part of who I am since I'm 2 years old, just the sets themselves and seeing horses and people in long skirts, just, and putting myself in a corset. And it all felt very familiar and very comfortable. Yeah. Not the corset.
Right. Now, some people love the corset.
I have to be honest, I do love a corset, and I don't necessarily love it because it's definitely not comfortable, but it changes the way I move and the way I breathe and I think it's very helpful for this particular character because she is a woman in a man's world, in a man's job. And it gives me a bit of a structure and a solidity and stiffness that I would not otherwise have. And it makes me stand up extra straight.
And sit straight.
And well, if you could sit at all.
Yeah.
This itself is a miracle right now.
Have you worn a corset before for any other roles?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've worn a corset off and on for a really long time. The other really good thing about wearing a corset is if I wear it long enough, day after day, I lose a little weight because it's hard to eat. So just drink a lot of water.
A little starvation diet.
Exactly.
The things we do. Right?
Exactly.
Well, we knew she's going to be wearing a suit. You kind of also have to know what you have or what we have. And there wasn't time to build something completely from scratch. One thing I knew that she wants to wear a corset. So she's wearing the corset. Right now she's just wearing let's call it a traveling outfit. It didn't make sense to change her because she always had only one script day. So, and she loves the outfit. It's funny because even Shane, our first assistant director, he was saying oh, she looks amazing and she really loves that look. I'm like, oh, okay, so then she can stay in that look for this block because originally I wanted to make her something new for this block because there is some storyline coming up, so we kind of wanted to, brighten up the color palette, but it just makes sense to keep her as she is for now and see what comes next afterwards. But this one is actually kind of grayish brownish. So it's actually two-tone, and the blazer was something what, I don't know where it came from, but basically what originally I did was that we built a skirt, and then we had a blazer which sort of matched the fabric of the skirt, and then we added the skirt fabric on the lapel of the blazer to tie two together, and I think we probably did the bottoms on the blazer as well. But it just had the perfect proportion for her. The blazer fit nicely, and we altered it a bit too, but yeah, it just worked great.
All the other guys in that training program could never forget that I was a woman. And you never even noticed.
You think I didn't notice?
Michael told you we had this character for you. Did you get any input into her at all?
Georgie McGill came fully written and fleshed out to a certain extent. The only questions I've had are from episode 6 now, where I started, to where I go. There's a big space, so I've had to fill in some blanks and ask questions and say, well, what happened and who's this and this? But everything tracks and makes sense, so I feel good. But Georgie came the way she did. The one thing I did ask, though, was, is everyone okay if I make her Irish? When I read her, there's something about her that just felt Irish to me. It's not just the last name McGill and the Georgie of it all, but there's something in it. I'm doing it now. It just sort of felt right for her, and it set her apart from everybody else a little bit because she's not, local. Local.
Yeah, she's different. She's from out of town.
Just a little bit different, which makes her a little more interesting, maybe for Bill. You never know.
I know. Well, and most of your scenes are with Bill. How's it been working with Jack Wagner?
Jack is just terrific. We actually worked together on Dancing with the Stars the same season and completely both forgot that we had done it. Because when you do that show, you're so siloed in the rehearsal room with your pro, you don't really see anybody else in the cast until show day, and then it's just passing each other in the hallways. This is completely different, and I'm so happy and so enjoying my time with Jack and developing this relationship that our characters have on screen and growing it, and I'm very excited to see where it goes.
We finished our first few days. She reaches out to me afterwards. She's back home, and she goes, "Did you realize we were on Dancing with the Stars together?" And I'm going, "No, we weren't. I was on with Martina Navratilova and Donald Driver and da-da-da." And she goes, "Yeah, and me too. We had both forgotten that we were on the same season of Dancing with the Stars."
So now I know something that you have in common with Bill, which is you're brave. You did Dancing with the Stars. Was that scary?
Dancing with the Stars was, the scary part is not the rehearsing. It's not the grinding and learning the dances. The scary part is thinking you have it and they say, "And doing the samba, Jack Wagner," and you just kind of go into shock That's the scary part. And then you go out and you do it because you really know how to do it. But that's really where we all, I think all of us, all the contestants shared that we were all petrified when our name was announced.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's live. I mean, there's no hiding, there's no editing that out. I mean, it's for everybody to see.
Yeah, thank goodness we have professional dancers to save us when we make mistakes.
So you and Georgie, it seems like maybe there's a little bit of chemistry there. Is there something, a little underlying chemistry showing up between the two of them?
Well, that's the story we're going to tell. Is there chemistry there, the backstory, their history? And so Melissa and I really, it was so great working with her because I love to collaborate. You know, I love to take a scene and run it over quite a few times. Is there any ideas? I usually get to work before I get to set with the executive producer and head writers. And she's all about that herself. So we really collaborated and came up with what I think is a pretty interesting relationship and the backstory and, you know, to tell the story of these two characters and what their relationship is and how much they care about each other.
And I think the characters work well together too, because they go in and they're investigating and they go and talk to the Garrison, Sonny Garrison. Why do you think they work well together?
Well, it's an opportunity for them to actually bring law enforcement and their forte, which is interrogation. And so we kind of go back and forth and we draw out information that we need that sort of sets up Bill and Georgie's relationship. Once we have a bit of something to solve together and a couple suspects, then we got a little meat on the bone, and that gives us a story. We know that Sonny wasn't working with Toddy Davis.
Teddy Davis from Union City. Yep, that was pure bluff.
Bold move borrowing state's evidence, by the way.
I figured I'd ask for forgiveness rather than permission. This way you're not responsible.
Well, it worked.
We both know he was involved in that robbery.
But we don't have enough to hold up in court yet.
But if we can figure out who sold that coin to Toddy.
You read my mind.
He's just great. My favorite thing to do is to make him laugh. I love to make Jack laugh.
Is it easy? Is he an easy laugh?
Jack is not an easy laugh. He's a really intelligent laugh. So you have to, it can't just be, I mean, you know, I'm a clown and I was raised by stand-up comics and, you know, I walk into a door for a laugh. But his sense of humor is a little more intellectual than that. So I have to actually be funnier and better and smarter.
Probably one of the reasons you get along with Michael Landon Jr., because he also he loves to tell jokes and funny. I mean, the two of you seem like two peas in a pod. We saw you at HFR doing a little juggling.
Mike Jr. and I, we were, you know, basically raised by the same people. Our parents were really close growing up, and we not only knew each other because of Little House on the Prairie, but our families vacationed together at Easter. We spent holidays together and New Year's Eve together. I slept over at their house. They slept over at my house. We really did grow up together. I mean, we went to prom together. And then the next year he took someone else, which is confusing to me, but that's okay. And we just, you know, there's a commonality, and the people who raised us were very funny people. Mike's dad was one of the funniest people I knew, and if his sets were not fun, when we worked, and we really focused on the work. But if we weren't having fun, there was sort of no point in being there, and he made it a very fun environment for everybody. And so I could see where Mike's that way too when he directs, but the two of us just fall into like brother and sister, you know, giving each other a really fun, hard time.
Have you been at anything that he's directed?
I have not been directed by Michael.
Okay. Would you like that?
Professionally. We did do some amateur silly movies when we were kids.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I no one has them anymore. One of them was me doing an imitation of a cross between Julia Child and the Galloping Gourmet, but drunk and then passing out in a bowl of brownie batter at their house. And we've done a couple other little silly movies like that. I mean, literally when we were, 11.
Yeah.
And Michael has not directed me since then. I hope he will someday, though. I think he'd be great fun to work with.
Oh, yeah. When you started to tell that story, when you said he hasn't done it professionally, I thought maybe as friends, he's always telling you what to do.
I'd like to see him try.
Directing you off camera.
Oh, my goodness. No, I don't think so. Not yet, anyway. Hopefully he won't have to. I hope I'm self-sustaining and maintaining.
Right. So this is a period piece. You're obviously familiar with working on a period piece. Do you prepare differently for when you're doing a period show? Or is it kind of the same? Do you memorize scripts in the same way,
I
prepare in the
think
same way?
the technical preparation is still the same. The difference is, where am I at this phase in my character's life in this universe? Like at this point, the show is in the 20s and things are evolving and people's style is evolving. But I'm a 60-year-old woman in life, and I'm assuming my character is very close to my age. So there is a tendency, especially back then, for older women to stick with tradition and what was fashionable when they were younger. So I'm not falling for any of this flapper nonsense. I am, like I said, in my corset and buttoned up and dressed like a proper lady. Also, I'm a representative of a professional woman in a man's world for real. So I have to maintain that professionalism. And really, I mean, technically, there were no women in the RCMP till the 1960s. So we're really pushing the envelope with this. And it felt incumbent upon me to acknowledge that. The fact that, this is a really unusual job for a woman to have back then, obviously. And so I wanted to make sure I was paying that aspect of it the respect that I needed to through my performance. Heads, you tell us who else is trafficking in your stolen loot. Tails, you tell us where we might find the rest of it.
And something else that was exciting that showed up this season was this gold coin. Can you tell me a little bit about that storyline?
Yes, the gold coin. I love how they, sort of weed this into the story this year, because it does start our season with Elizabeth bringing Jack, Mountie Jack's Medal of Honor. And so, that is a very touching moment where Bill identifies it, gives the backstory of the Garrison Gang, and that introduces the Garrison Gang back into this year's story. And, Bill and Jack Thornton arrested this gang. I think it was season 3 or so, 2 or 3. It was a big deal. And Jack got the credit for that, and, as credit was due. So now we realize they've got this gold, because this gold coin showed up, this double eagle gold coin. And now it's like, this is from the Garrison Gang. And so we have to go back and revisit the Garrison Gang in prison and try to solve this mystery of the gold coins. It's about, do we solve this crime? And more importantly, do we get to see how they feel about each other?
Yeah, which, I want them to solve the crime, but, I think the romance is such a big part.
I don't think people are going to want them to solve the crime. I think they're going to want to see, is there a romance? Yeah. Bill hasn't gotten much of that, for quite a while. So I think it's great that they've, thought about that character, Bill, and bringing someone on and who it would be. And the fact that it's Melissa Gilbert, I think, adds so much more interest just in general in Melissa, as well as like what they'd be like together as characters.
It's really interesting to be a female actor at this phase in my life and to be having the opportunity to play the beginning of potentially a romance again. Because usually, at this age, I'm just Nana or Maman hanging out with Papa and, whatever happens, happens. But I told my family I've gone from ingenue to old genou. And but I'm having a really fun time. I did not expect that this would ever happen again, so I'm really kind of enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, I am looking forward to seeing where it's going to go.
Me too.
I've met Melissa Gilbert. There is nothing old, genou or otherwise. She is such a bright light. That lady is funny. As far as I'm concerned, she's just another reason to envy Michael Landon Jr. just because of his friendship with Melissa Gilbert. That lady was a blast. But you guys can watch an interview I did with her tomorrow for Hardy's TV Tuesday. We talk about her child growing up with the Landons, 9 kids in the Landons, some of the crazy things they did together, what it feels like to come back and work with Michael Landon Jr. on this period piece, When Calls the Heart, and what would Michael Landon Sr., what would he have thought of this whole thing? You guys are gonna love it. And until then, we'll see you right here next time on Super Channel Heart and Home. See you then, everybody.